as always. That's awful. Early voting gone wild. When does it not fucking go wild? Alright. I really doubt that I'll have an audience for this one, but still worth. I already put it on the schedule. I already wanted to do it, so, you know, it's still worth putting on a show, you know? What's that number? XXX. Okay. 31, 24. There we go. Yeah, I really doubt that I'll have an audience for this episode, but, you know, it's still worth, you know the saying, even when there's no audience, the show must go on. I guess, you know, I guess a pro is no audience means, you know, the show is less likely to go up in flames. But there's also less potential for funny, out of context moments, unfortunately. Just getting my copies ready. All right. Alright. I'm still going to link this anyway, just because. Well, anyway, I guess we are not... Oh, nice hair. Anyway. Alright, I guess we're not going to have an audience for this episode. A rare moment on Wonder After Dark. But we're already 4 minutes in, and this is only like a 90-minute show. I can't waste too much time, so welcome to Wonder After Dark. Nobody. Anyway, because we have nobody watching, I guess I'm just free to talk, so yeah, let's waste no time. Grindhouse. Oh yeah, I've been waiting for a long time to talk about this movie. And unfortunately, it's on a night where I don't have an audience. Perhaps this one will get a redo in April. Anyway, Grindhouse is a 2007 American film. not even like action horror, just film. Anyway, 2007. Let me try it again. Grindhouse is a 2007 American film written and directed by both Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. Anyway, presented as a double feature, it combines Planet Terror, written and directed by Robert Rodriguez, a horror comedy about a group of survivors who battle zombie like creatures, and Death Proof, written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, an action thriller about a murderous stuntman who kills young women with modified muscle cars. How exciting. Anyway, the former stars Rose McGowan, Freddie Rodriguez, Michael Biehn, Jeff Fahey, Josh Brolin, and Marley Shelton, while the latter stars Kurt Russell, Rosario Dawson, Vanessa Ferlito, Jordan Ladd, Sidney Tamia Poiter, Tracy Toms, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Zoe Bell. Quite the stacked cast. But then again, it's technically split across two. Anyway, Grindhouse pays homage to the exploitation films of the 1970s, with its title being derived from the now defunct theaters that would play such films. Anyway, as a part of its theatrical exhibition and presentation, Grindhouse also featured fictitious exploitation trailers directed by Robert Rodriguez, Rob Zombie, Edgar Wright, Eli Roth, and Jason Eisner. Although Jason's trailer was not in most releases. You'll find out soon enough. Anyway, the film was produced by Rodriguez International Pictures and Troublemaker Studios, and was distributed by the Weinstein Company under the Dimension Films banner. Anyway, the film released in the US on April 6, 2007, and had a whopping runtime of 3 hours and 11 minutes, so 191 minutes. Yep. Anyway, the film had a budget between $53 to $60 million combined, but it only made $25.4 million. Oops. Anyway, that's not good. Anyway, the film was released theatrically on April 6, 2007, to positive reviews for its tone, thrills, and tribute to exploitation cinema. However, Grindhouse was a commercial failure, grossing just $25.4 million on a $53 to $60 million budget. Damn. Due to underperforming at the domestic box office, Planet Terror and Death Proof were released separately in other countries. Initial home video releases also separated Planet Terror and Death Proof. In fact, the theatrical version, the double feature cut, with both films at their original length and the fictitious trailers, did not appear on home video of any kind until 2010. Why 3 years later? I have zero clue. Just zero clue. But anyway. Despite the box office failure, Rodriguez and Tarantino have expressed interest in a possible sequel due to both the positive reviews and successful DVD sales. In fact, the fictitious trailers directed by Rodriguez, Eisner, and Roth later became the basis for their own feature films. Robert Rodriguez eventually produced Machete, based on the trailer of the same name. Eisner did Hobo with a Shotgun, which was a trailer not seen in the American release of Grindhouse, but the Canadian release. And Thanksgiving, which was directed by Eli Roth. Now, I guess I should explain. Now, normally I would just get right to the reception, but I'm going to explain how this movie came to be because it's quite interesting. The idea for Grindhouse came to Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino when Tarantino would often set up screenings of double features at his house, complete with trailers before and in between the films. During one screening in 2003, Rodriguez noticed that he owned the same double feature movie poster as Tarantino for the 1957 films Drag Strip Girl and Rock All Night. Rodriguez asked Tarantino, I always wanted to do a double feature. Hey, why don't you direct one and I'll do the other? That was hauntingly Robert. Jesus, I was not even trying to sound like him, but that was hauntingly accurate. Anyway, Tarantino quickly responded, yeah, and we've got to call it Grindhouse. The film's name originates from the American term for theaters that played all the exploitation genres: kung fu, horror, giallo, sexploitation, the good old boy redneck car chase movies, blaxploitation, spaghetti westerns, all those risible genres that were released in the 70s. According to Rodriguez, the posters were much better than the movies themselves, but we're actually making something that lives up to the posters. Stay tuned. Anyway, Rodriguez first came up with the idea for Planet Terror during production of The Faculty. I remember telling Elijah Wood and Josh Hartnett, all these young actors, that zombie movies were dead and hadn't been around in a while, but I thought that they were going to come back in a big way because they'd been gone for so long. I said, we've got to be there first. I had a script I'd started writing. It was about 30 pages, and I said to them, there are characters for all of you to play. We got all excited about it, and then I didn't know where to go with it. The introduction was about as far as I'd gotten, and then I got onto other movies. Sure enough, the zombie movie invasion happened, and they all came back again, and I was like, I knew I should have made my zombie film. Happens to the best of us. Anyway, the story was approached again, however, when Tarantino and Rodriguez developed the idea for Grindhouse. So Planet Terror was revived. As Planet Terror took shape, Tarantino developed the story for his half, Death Proof. Based on his fascination for the way stuntmen would death-proof their cars as long as they were driving, stuntmen could slam their cars headfirst into a brick wall at 60 miles per hour and survive. This inspired Tarantino to create a slasher film featuring a deranged stuntman who stalks and murders sexy young women with his death-proof car. Tarantino remembers, I realized I couldn't do a straight slasher film because, with the exception of, the women in prison films, there is no other genre quite as rigid. And if you break that up, you aren't really doing it anymore. It's so inorganic. So I realized, let me take the structure of a slasher film and just do what I do. My version is going to be fucked up and disjointed, but it seemingly uses the structure of a slasher film, hopefully against you. According to Rodriguez, Tarantino had an idea and a complete vision for it right away when he first asked about it. He started to tell me the story and said, it's got this death-proof car in it. I said, you have to call it Death-Proof. I helped title the movie, but that's it. Of the car chases, Tarantino stated, CGI for car stunts doesn't make sense to me. How is that supposed to be impressive? I don't think there have been any good car chases since I started making films in '92. To me, the last terrific car chase was in Terminator 2. And Final Destination 2 had a magnificent car action piece. in between that, not a lot. Every time a stunt happens, there's 12 cameras and they use every angle for avid editing. But I don't feel it in my stomach. It's just action. And that's how the idea came to be. Yep. According to actress Marley Shelton, Rodriguez and Tarantino really co-directed at least Planet Terror. Quentin was on set a lot. He had notes and adjustments to our performances, and he changed lines every once in a while. Of course, he always deferred to Robert on Planet Terror and vice versa for Death Proof. So it's really both of their brainchild. Tarantino has stated, "I can't imagine doing Grindhouse with any other director in the way me and Robert did it, because I just had complete faith and trust in him. So much that we didn't actually see each other's movie completed until three weeks before the film opened. It was as if we worked in little vacuums and cut our movies down, and then put them together and watched it all play. And then made a couple little changes after that, and that was pretty much it." I hate how much I can nail his mannerisms. Jesus fuck. Anyway. Okay. Oh, don't fall, Sonic. Anyway. Many of the cast members had previously worked with both directors before appearing in Grindhouse. Marley Shelton had auditioned for the faculty, but Rodriguez chose not to cast her, although she was eventually cast in the role of a customer in the opening sequence of Sin City. Bruce Willis had appeared in both Pulp Fiction and Sin City. In addition to having a cameo appearance in a segment Tarantino directed for the anthology film 4 Rooms. Tom Savini, my apologies, Tom Savini had previously acted in From Dusk Till Dawn, which was written by Tarantino and directed by Rodriguez. Michael Parks reprises his role as Texas Ranger Earl McGraw in both Planet Terror and Death Proof. Parks first portrayed the role in From Dusk Till Dawn. His son James appears in Death Proof as Edgar McGraw, a character that first appeared in From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. The first time the two characters appeared together was in Tarantino's Kill Bill. Tarantino himself plays small roles in both segments of Grindhouse. And director Eli Roth, who contributed the fake trailer Thanksgiving, and whose film Hostel was produced by Tarantino, also has a cameo in Death Proof. Tarantino attempted to cast both Kal Penn and Sylvester Stallone in Death Proof, but to no avail due to prior commitments. In an interview, Tarantino revealed that he decided to cast Kurt Russell as Stuntman Mike because, for people of my generation, he's a true hero. But now there's an audience out there that doesn't know what Kurt Russell can do. So when I open the newspaper and I see an ad that says Kurt Russell in Dreamer or Kurt Russell in Miracle, I'm not disparaging those movies, but I'm thinking, when is Kurt Russell going to be badass again? Rodriguez later revealed that he cast Rose McGowan as Cherry Darling in response to McGowan's blacklisting from the productions of the Weinstein Company, then the parent company of Grindhouse's distributor Dimension Films, following Harvey Weinstein's alleged sexual assault of her. Giga Chad move, Robert. Giga Chad move. You were based for that one. Anyway. Tarantino and Rodriguez each acted as cinematographer on their respective segments, although Rodriguez had previously worked on as the cinematographer on 6 of his own feature films. Death Proof marked Tarantino's first credit as a cinematographer. The director of photography for Rob Zombie's fake trailer, Werewolf Women of the SS, was Phil Parmet, with whom Zombie had first worked with on The Devil's Rejects. The director of photography for Eli Roth's fake trailer, Thanksgiving, was Milan Chadima, with whom Roth had previously worked with on Hostel. Anyway, although set in the modern day, the film uses various unconventional techniques to make the films look like those that were shown in grindhouse theaters in the 1970s. Throughout both feature-length segments and the fake trailers, the film is intentionally damaged to make it look like many of the exploitation films of the time, which were generally shipped around from theater to theater and usually ended up in bad shape. To reproduce the look of damaged film reels in Planet Terror, 5 of the 6 25,000 frame reels were edited with real film damage, plugins, and stock footage. Planet Terror makes heavy use of digital effects throughout the film. Perhaps the most notable effect is Cherry's fake leg. To accomplish the fake leg that Cherry sports after her accident, during post-production, the effects team digitally removed McGowan's right leg from the shots and replaced it with computer-generated props. First a table leg and then an M16 rifle. During shooting for these scenes, McGowan wore a special cast which restricted her leg movement to give her the correct motion, and helped the effects artists to digitally remove it during post-production. During editing, I love how I'm just reading the Wikipedia page, but it's because nobody's here to feed off of my insanity. Anyway, during editing, Tarantino and Rodriguez came up with the idea of inserting missing reels into the film. Quentin was about to show an Italian crime movie with Oliver Reed. Rodriguez recalls, and he was saying, oh, it's got a missing reel in it, but it's really interesting because after the missing reel, you don't know if he slept with a girl or he didn't, because she says he did, and he says he didn't. It leaves you guessing, and the movie still works with 20 minutes gone out of it. And I thought, oh my God, that's what we've got to do. We've got to have a missing reel. And I'm going to use it in a way where it actually says missing reel for 10 seconds. And then when we come back, you're arriving in the third act. The late second acts in movies are usually the most predictable. Hey! Well, yep, you happen to be late. Welcome to Wonder After Dark. I just spent the last 22 minutes rambling about my beloved movie. I am not repeating any of those 22 minutes, so you'll have to forgive me. And then when we come back, oh no, I already read that part. That's where the good guy really turns out to be the bad guy, and the bad guy is really good. And the couple becomes friends. Suddenly, though, you're in the third act. All bets are off, and it's a whole new story anyway. On the editing of Death Proof, Tarantino stated, there is a half an hour's difference between my Death Proof and what's playing in Grindhouse. I was like a brutish American exploitation distributor who cut the movie down to almost the point of incoherence. I cut it down to the bone, and I took all the fat off of it. And extended, to see if it could still exist. And it worked. An extended 127-minute version of Death Proof was screened in competition at the 60th Cannes Film Festival. No idea if I even pronounced that correctly. Haha, oopsie daisy. Anyway, Tarantino is quoted as saying, "It works great as a double feature, but I'm just as excited, if not more excited, to see Death Proof, about actually having the world see Death Proof unfiltered. It will be the first time everyone sees Death Proof by itself, including me." Excuse me. Grindhouse was rated R in the U.S., for strong graphic, bloody violence and gore, pervasive language, and some sexuality, nudity, and drug use. Shortly after the film officially received the R rating from the MPAA, it Ain't It Cool News, which that doesn't even sound real, but they reported that according to Tarantino, only minimal cuts were made, which ended up totaling 20 seconds. The only reason I bring that up is because the film was slapped with an NC-17 numerous times during production. But of course, I'm very sorry, and I love that video. Anyway, but what about the reception? Grindhouse performed poorly at the domestic box office, surprising box office analysts and fans alike given the strong reviews and favorable media buzz. Costing $53 million to produce, Grindhouse opened poorly with a disappointing $11.5 million in the United States, making a per theater average of $4,417. Box office analysts originally predicted an opening weekend total of 20 to 30 million. Damn. The opening weekend box office total stood below not only the second weekends of Blades of Glory from DreamWorks Pictures and Meet the Robinsons from Walt Disney Pictures, but also fell below the opening weekend gross of the poorly reviewed Are We Done Yet from Columbia Pictures. In an attempt to explain the film's disappointing opening weekend, God, box office analyst Brandon Gray suggested that Grindhouse suffered the unusual horror comedy dilemma that afflicted Snakes on a Plane and Slither, among others. Too funny to be scary, but too scary to be funny. Box office analyst Lee Tissiter, that name, of tracking website Lee's Movie Info, compared the result with what may have happened if Tarantino's Kill Bill saga had been released as one film instead of two. Is it possible that Tarantino got his wish this time as a result of two back-to-back 60 million grosses, he asked. Others attributed the film's disappointing opening to the timing of Easter weekend, noting that the weekend is more tailored for family-oriented films or light comedy, not expletive horror films. The film's length, running more than 3 hours and 11 minutes, also hurt, keeping away casual theater goers and limiting the number of screenings that could be held in a day. Which that is completely accurate. You know, the longer the movie, the less screenings you can show. Tarantino was quoted as saying about the film's disappointing box office results, "It was disappointing, yeah. But the movie worked with the audience. The people who saw it loved it and applauded. I'm proud of my flop." Harvey Weinstein said that he was so incredibly disappointed with the film's opening weekend that he was considering re-releasing it as two separate films and possibly adding back the quote-unquote missing scenes. The film altogether earned $25 million in ticket sales. Grindhouse was then, well, I guess I should probably add this little bit of context. Thanks to the film's disappointing domestic box office performance, Grindhouse was released separately internationally as two separate standalone feature films, Just Planet Terror and Just Death Proof. Anyway, Death Proof internationally grossed $30 million, while Planet Terror grossed $10 million, bringing Grindhouse's total gross to $67 million. Yeah. Anyway, in 2017, Rodriguez told Variety that he thinks Weinstein buried the film due to the director's decision to cast Rose McGowan in Planet Terror. The actress had previously accused Weinstein of performing unspeakable acts upon her. It happens to the best of us. In 2020, Tarantino said he considers Grindhouse his most misunderstood film. With Grindhouse, I think me and Robert just felt that people had a little bit more of a concept of the history of double features and exploitation movies. But no, they didn't. At all. They had no idea what the fuck they were watching. It meant nothing to them. Alright, what were we doing? So that was a case of being a little too cool for school. But what about the reception? Rotten Tomatoes reported that 84% of 195 critics gave the film a positive review, with an average rating of 7.4 out of 10. The consensus reads, Grindhouse delivers exhilarating exploitation fare with wit. Let me try that again. Delivers exhilarating exploitation fare with wit and panache. No idea if I even said that word correctly, but that word. Improving upon its source material with feral intelligence. I guess you can call me feral intelligence. Anyway, Metacritic assigned the film an average rating of 77 out of 100 based on 36 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A+ to F scale. Wow, how exciting. Anyway. Entertainment Weekly gave the film a B+ rating, praising it as a crazily funny and exciting tribute to the grimy glory days of 1970s exploitation films that will leave you laughing, gasping, and thrilled at a movie that knows, at long last, how to put the bad back in badass. And finally, Peter Travers of Rolling Stone gave the film a positive review by commenting, by stooping low without selling out, this Babes and Bullets Tour de Force, not France, gets you high on movies again. The critics who did not like the film were not amused by the film's graphic and comical violence, with Larry Ratliff of San Antonio Express News noting, this ambitious, scratched, and weathered venture never manages a real death grip on the senses. Nick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle awarded the film a high rating, but noted the Rodriguez segment is terrific. The Tarantino one is just long-winded and juvenile. Others consider Death Proof to be a deeper and more noteworthy segment. Critic A.O. Scott of the New York Times noted, at a certain point in Death Proof, the scratches and bad splices disappear, and you find yourself watching not an arc, clever, and you find yourself not, let me try it again. You find yourself watching not an arc, clever pastiche of old movies and movie theaters, but an actual movie. Roger Ebert was divided. He gave Grindhouse as a whole 2.5 stars out of 4, awarding Planet Terror 2 stars and Death Proof 3. Ebert also noted the irony of grindhouse films being largely superseded by many big budget R rated mainstream films that included a great deal of nudity and graphic violence. Yep, pretty much. But there's the critical reception. Now it's time for home video, or rather, release. As previously stated, in the US, the film was originally released as a 3-hour, 11-minute double feature containing the 1-hour, 32-minute cut of Planet Terror, as well as the 1-hour, 27-minute cut of Death Proof, as well as trailers for the fictitious fake films Machete, Werewolf Women of the SS, Don't, and Thanksgiving. And if you lived in Canada, Hobo with a Shotgun. Outside the US and Canada, however, Planet Terror and Death Proof were released separately as extended versions, about 2 months apart from each other, each running about 20 minutes longer than their respective original versions, with Planet Terror being increased to 1 hour 45 minutes, and Death Proof being increased to 1 hour 53 minutes. The poster artwork for each film's release in the Netherlands claimed that Death Proof would feature coming attractions from Rodriguez, while Planet Terror would feature coming attractions from Tarantino. While the separated version of Planet Terror still includes the trailer for Machete, none of the other fake trailers were included with Death Proof when it was released separately. Anyway, in reaction to the possibility of a split in foreign release, Tarantino stated, especially if you're dealing with the non-English countries, they don't really have this tradition. Not only do they not really know what a grindhouse is, they don't even really have the double feature tradition. So you're kind of trying to teach us something else. Many European fans saw the split as an attempt to increase profits by forcing audiences to pay twice for what was shown as a single film in the United States. In the United Kingdom, Death Proof was released on September 21st, 2007, which was followed by the release of Planet Terror on November 9th, with an eventual limited run of the entire Grindhouse feature the following year. Keyword limited. Death Proof was screened in Europe as the extended version that was presented in competition at Cannes. The additional material included scenes that were replaced in the American version with a missing reel title card, such as the lap dance scene. A total of about 27 minutes were added for this version. In Australia, the edited version of Death Proof was first screened on November 1st, 2007 as a separate film. However, on January 17th, 2008, Grindhouse, the complete version, was given limited screenings. In April 2008, an entire year after the American release, Grindhouse was screened by Dendy Cinemas in one venue at a time across the country through the use of a traveling 35mm reel. In South America, Planet Terror was released in January 2010, and Death Proof was released in July 2010, at least in Brazil. So yeah, internationally, most countries received the film as 2 standalone extended feature films. They didn't really get Grindhouse in its original purest form. Anyway, but what about home video? Death Proof and Planet Terror were released separately on DVD in the US and Canada. Obviously, of course, because of the poor box office performance in the US. While Death Proof's DVD did not include the trailers for... Let me try it again. While Death Proof did not include the trailers for Werewolf Women Don't or Thanksgiving, the DVD for Planet Terror did include the trailer excuse me, for Machete. Death Proof was released on DVD on September 18th, 2007, followed by Death Proof on October 16th, 2007. Both were released as 2-disc special edition DVDs featuring the extended versions of the films which were shown internationally. Robert Rodriguez stated in the 10-minute film school bonus feature on the Planet Terror DVD that a box set of the two films would be available soon, and that his 10-minute cooking school feature would appear on it. This release would also reportedly include Hobo with a Shotgun, which was not included on the American release of the film when it was shown in theaters. Only the Canadian release. Anyway, a 6 DVD edition of the film was released in Japan, of all countries, on March 21st, 2008, featuring the films both in their individual extended versions and the abridged double feature presentation, along with previously unreleased special features. Then the films were released individually on Blu-ray in the US on December 16th, 2008. These were the same extended cuts that were previously released on DVD, and all the same special features from those DVDs were ported over, although the Blu-ray edition of Planet Terror included a scratch-free version of the film, which removed much of the damage effects. So basically, the Blu-ray included a clean version, while the Blu-ray edition of Death Proof only contained the quote-unquote damaged version of the film. Anyway, the theatrical version of Grindhouse was then released on Region 2 DVD, and the standalone version of Death Proof was released on HD DVD exclusively in Germany on December 31st, 2009, and was the last title to be released on HD DVD. Fun fact. Oh, thankfully we're almost done. Thankfully. And finally, okay, a 2-disc Blu-ray special edition of the film was released on... Okay, a 2-disc special edition Blu-ray release of the film was released on October 5th, 2010 in the US by Vivendi Entertainment, with exclusive bonus features previously never released before. This release marked the first time that US viewers could view the full Grindhouse double feature presentation as originally shown in theaters at home. As of course the previous releases were also the previous releases were the standalone extended cuts. Anyway, the first disc of the 2-disc set includes both films in their original length, along with the fictitious trailers for Machete, Werewolf Women Don't, and Thanksgiving, as well as some commentaries. And disc 2 contains additional special features, both ported over from the previous DVDs, as well as some new extras. Anyway, The theatrical cut was released on DVD exclusively in Canada by Alliance Atlantis. All of the extras from the previous individual DVD releases were included. However, not all of the extras from the special edition Blu-ray were included. Then in 2022, the Blu-ray was somewhat reprinted by Lionsgate. I say somewhat because while it while they did use the correct packaging for that 2022 reprint, they used the wrong discs. It was the extended cuts rather than... But eventually Lionsgate fixed it this year. Anyway. Alright. And I'm not even going to begin to cover international releases. It's a novel. But yeah. One second here, just getting additional research ready. Fucking stinks like a motherfuck in here. Copper, did you piss somewhere? I can't tell if... I'm just gonna turn that on. I can't tell if Copper pissed in here or not. But anyway. Alright, but anyway. I have too many copies. Okay. Alright. I guess I'll go in release order. So, Death Proof, released on DVD in September 2007, extended and unrated. Dimension Home Entertainment, Grindhouse presents Death Proof. And this was released by Genius Products. Obviously in Canada, this would be put out by Alliance. Bonus features include trailers and poster gallery, Stunts on Wheels, the legendary drivers of Death Proof, Kurt Russell as Stuntman Mike, Finding Quentin's Gals, The Guise of Death Proof, Introducing Zoe Bell, Quentin's greatest collaborator, editor Sally Menk, and Double Dare trailer. Yeah, I don't know if that really justifies having a 2-disc DVD, but whatever. There's disc 1 and disc 2. And then Planet Terror, released October 2007. Again, extended and unrated. This is the longer cut that was not shown in American theaters. Pretty much the same template. And this one I actually have a slipcover for. Ooh. Bonus features include feature commentary by writer-director Robert Rodriguez, audience reaction track, international trailer and poster gallery, 10-minute film school with Robert Rodriguez, the badass babes and tough guys of Planet Terror, casting Rebel, Sickos, Bullets, and Explosions, the stunts of Planet Terror, the friend, the doctor, and the real estate agent. Pretty much the same underneath. Seriously, it smells in here. Copper. Did you pee-pee? Did you pee-pee? You're giving me the face. Copper, did you pee-pee? That face means he did it. Anyway. Pretty much the same as Death Proof. Disc 1. Disc 2. And then the Canadian DVD. Again, in America, this only got a Blu-ray, but in Canada, it was released on both formats. And this was released by Alliance in Canada. Bonus features include Planet Terror commentary by writer-director Robert Rodriguez, Planet Terror audience reaction, Copper, look at me, Planet Terror audience reaction track, Thanksgiving trailer commentary by Eli Roth and Jeff Rendell, and then the rest of the bonus features are the same as these last two DVDs. Anyway, disc 1 is the movie and extras. And then disc 2 is a flip disc, so side A is Planet Terror bonus features, and side B is Death Proof bonus features. And finally, we have the newest release from Lionsgate. I'm not reading the full list of special features here because it's not the full list. There's way more than just what's listed here. Now, although the packaging says copyright 2023 Lionsgate, the discs inside are labeled copyright 2024 Lionsgate. But there's the home video history. Copper. Now you might be wondering, what's the list of special features on the Blu-ray? Copper. Well, the Blu-ray includes audio commentary by writer-director Robert Rodriguez on Planet Terror audience reaction track, Thanksgiving trailer commentary by Eli Roth and Jeff Rendell. Copper. Anyway. And then, excuse me. And then additional extras include, oh god, it's a novel, 10-minute film school, 10-minute cooking school, the badass babes of Planet Terror, the guys of Planet Terror, Casting Rebel, Sickos, Bullets, and Explosions, the makeup effects of Planet Terror, the stunts of Planet Terror, the Friend, the Doctor, and the Real Estate Agent, and International Poster Gallery, Stunts on Wheels, the legendary drivers of Death Proof, Quentin's greatest collaborator, editor Sally Menk, the guys of Death Proof, Finding Quentin's Gals, Kurt Russell as Stuntman Mike, the uncut version of Baby It's You performed by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Introducing Zoe Bell, Double Dare trailer, International Poster Gallery, the Hot Rods of Death Proof, From Texas to Tennessee, the production design of Death Proof, New York Times Talk from 2006, Comic-Con 2006 featuring the directors and cast of Grindhouse, extended music cues, good lord, the making of Thanksgiving, the making of Werewolf Women of the SS, extended Werewolf Women of the SS trailer, the making of Don't, extended Don't trailer, Don't storyboard and trailer comparison, Don't storyboards, Don't poster, Hobo with a Shotgun, and the Hobo with a Shotgun trailer. Ooh, meow. Yeah, you're really late, Sylv. You are really late. I am not trying to sound rude, but I genuinely am not repeating the Halloween ended earlier than I thought. That's nice. Okay, now I am not saying this to sound rude, so I do apologize if it comes off rude, but it's not intentional, so I have a lot to say. Wait till I'm done real quick. Oh, just let me say this and then you can say. Um, I am not trying to sound rude, but I am not going to repeat the last 54 minutes, 55 minutes. Normally I would repeat a little bit despite saying I'm not gonna, but after 55 minutes I heard you fight. Okay. Just thought you should know. Now shush, okay. Anyway, what do you have to say before I continue yapping? So basically, okay. I'll get the funny image ready while this goes on. I went to Walmart, the thrift shop, and the mall as Michael Myers. That's nice. It's actually, some people got scared. Good. Let me tell you, the mask is hot as fuck. Literally every Michael Myers mask I have ever seen looks like it would just be sweaty and uncomfortable. Anyway, but sounds like you had a fun night. Um, I went to the bathroom at least 3 times to unwind. Damn. Um, I honestly, I just had a night. You know, I went out, repurposed my suit from the wedding, minus the uncomfortable belt. Probably the last time I'm going to be wearing that suit for a while, and it was only because the prep time got away from me. Hopefully next year will be a Halloween costume with more effort. But yeah. But the thing is, I refuse to break character. That's dedication. That's dedication. Dedication. But yeah, my night was pretty good. I did not speak and I walked slowly. Really committed to the character. Even more committed than I am, honestly. Which is barely committed. But yeah. It stinks in here, and I don't even know where that smell is coming from. Anyway, but if you're wondering what you missed for the last nearly an hour, oh, at one point I was in the Walmart checkout lane and I walked slowly and one person complained. That sounds like a Reddit store, and I high-fived the kid who wanted one. That's really nice. Also, the Walmart checkout lane part sounds like a Reddit story. Like, I know it's true, but it still sounds like a Walmart. Or like a, well, yeah, like a Reddit. Head hurt. But yeah, fair, yeah. But I had a Halloween. Anyway, before I continue yapping, I just want to randomly give this random opinion. Halloween, while yes, the Halloween holiday is on October 31st, I would say the Halloween holiday does not end until like. Oh, wait. The only gestures I did was basically a thumbs up, nod, or head shake. Typical. You've mastered the art of Myers knees. Anyway, what I was trying to say. While the Halloween holiday is on October 31st, I would say the Halloween season does not end until like the first week of November. Basically, by November 7th, which is when. Here's what I say. By November 7th, which is typically when the stores have cleared out all their Halloween stock, that is when Halloween is over. Because typically the first couple days of Halloween, or typically the first couple days of November, you got some Halloween stuff left over. And I don't just mean your candy. What does it say? I ordered pizza by writing down on a Google Doc, and the guy smiled at me knowing how committed I was. That's based, honestly. But anyway. Alright, time for the funny image. Funny image time. Time for the funny image. The name game. Control your cocks. Control your cocks, fuckers. Control your cocks. I got so many, yo, Michael Myers today. I guess Michael Myers is a really popular character over in Canada. I mean, popular over here too, yeah, but I guess over there, I don't know. And I got a few Mike Myers. Shrek. Anyway. Shrunky. Okay, anyway. Alright, back to me yapping. You're probably wondering what in God's name you missed for the last hour of this show. Nothing exciting, because Spider... I was tempted to say wrong guy, but I didn't because I was committed. I would have broken there. I would have said wrong guy. I wouldn't even try to sound like a creepy killer man. I just would have said wrong guy in just my everyday voice. Anyway, you were probably wondering what the hell you missed for the last hour of this show. Nothing exciting, because Spider was only here momentarily / briefly, so there wasn't really anyone to converse with, and I didn't want to say the one line Michael has ever said. Anyway, so most of this episode, oh yeah, Cosmic has not been here either, so most of this episode was just me just yabbering away about the movie. Not even the movie itself per se, just the production and release history. Die! Michael in Rob Zombie Halloween 2 Director's Cut, yep. Lonely, yep. But yeah, you did not miss anything for the last hour. Now, I'm not going to drop the topic, so I'm going to get back to the topic. Again, I don't feel like repeating the last hour and 2 minutes. What movie? I got lost. Don't worry, you also did not miss an interesting topic. Anyway, picking up from where I left off, what do I think of Grindhouse? Funny image. I missed it. Okay. The funny image in question, control your cocks. Control your cocks. It's not a request, it's a demand. You must control your cocks. I can't control it. You must have a raging boner right now, then. Alright, anyway. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway. I can't control my cock either, but not because I have a boner, but because it's deflated at all times. The sharks are like me. They never come. Anyway. Okay, but... No, I have a farm. Anyway. Alright, picking up from where I left off, what do I think about Grindhouse? Well, yep, my cocks just run around and screw all the hens. That's hot. Anyway. Well, you gotta remember, this film was released as a 3-hour double feature, then as 2 standalone extended feature films. I did not see the theatrical double feature cut until much later. How I first saw the film was as the... Also, there's a new Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. I had no idea, so I bought it. I'm losing count of those. Anyway, I first saw the film via the standalone, separate, extended cuts. Death Proof first, then Planet Terror. I haven't read every book, but I do own every book. I'm losing count, both of how many books there are and how many I have. Anyway, but... Okay. I'm gonna... Do you? If you mean do I have every book, I don't think so. If that's the question. Oh, look, it's Captain America. Anyway, but what I was saying. But anyway, I recall really liking the extended cut of Death Proof, and I recall really liking the extended cut of Planet Terror. Tell the audience about the movie I bought today. Can you... Okay, I know you can't help the interrupting, but I will do it after my tangent. After my tangent. I promise I will, but after I'm done speaking. Not trying to sound rude by any means, not trying to refuse. Okay, good. Anyway, I recall really liking the extended cut of both movies. But it feels like only after I saw the original cut, the 3-hour double feature with both movies at their original length, with the fictitious trailers and everything, did it feel like the movie finally started to click. Sorry if I seem off by being so accepting of you right now, but legit, today went perfectly. Good. Can today fucking go perfectly all the damn time? Because I would prefer perfectly you all the time. Sorry if that sounds rude. That's just what I would prefer. But anyway. Okay, but it feels like only... I make no promises. Do you fucking ever? Anyway. Only after the theatrical cut. After I saw the theatrical cut. Did it feel like the movie start... It doesn't sound rude, by the way. Good. Anyway. Only after I saw the theatrical cut did it feel like this movie finally started to click. Now, keep in mind, I think Death Proof and Planet Terror do work just fine as two separate, standalone feature films. But when you have them in the double feature format, presented together, with the trailers and everything, it feels more complete. It feels more complete. It feels more, maybe not grand, but more authentic. Even though the extended cuts are technically longer, both individually and together, and even though the extended cuts do feature scenes that are not in the theatrical cut, it kind of feels like something's missing. It feels more Robert. Well, anyway. But, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is once you've seen the theatrical cut, the double feature cut of Grindhouse, you cannot go back to the separate extended cuts. Now you're probably wondering, given you haven't seen the movie, or movies, depending on how you choose to look at it, what is the difference between... Oh yeah, I forgot to bring up something yesterday. Okay, I'll allow this. Go ahead. I'll allow this interruption. Just because you forgot to mention it. You mentioned how you thought Monster House had no UMD, but Scott the Waz's video literally showed part of a commercial of it saying now on DVD. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgore. I'm stupid. I forgore. And the smell in here is driving me fucking ballistic, but I cannot tell where the smell is coming from. I don't think it's piss because I don't see that distinct dog piss glisten, but I know it's not me. I don't know what it is. But the smell in here is making me want to throw copper out of a window. Anyway, what I was saying. But thank you for bringing that up. Anyway. Now, as I said earlier in the episode, Grindhouse was originally released as a 3-hour, 11-minute double feature. Then it was later released as 2 separate extended feature films, 20 minutes longer each. Are there any substantial differences? Yes and no. Okay. Planet Terror, not really. Not really. Most of what's added, released the Wonder Cut, sure. Anyway, in terms of the extended cut of Planet Terror versus the theatrical cut, most of what was added in the extended cut is very minor. Stuff that you could easily cut out and not worry about missing. You know, some minor alternate dialogue, some minor new scenes, but most of what's added is unimportant. The biggest change, though, is the aspect ratio. Very minor spelling mistake, sure. Anyway, most of what's added is very minor. In fact, the biggest change is the aspect ratio. You know, Planet Terror in the theatrical cut has the same aspect ratio as Death Proof, you know, so they match. The extended cut presents it in a standard flat ratio. Use the TV as an example. That screen size. What about the extended cut of Death Proof? Is it any different to the theatrical cut of Death Proof? Yes. In fact, of the two, it's the more substantially different. The theatrical cut of Death Proof runs at 1 hour 27 minutes. The extended cut is beefed up to 1 hour 53 minutes. And it is the longest 1 hour 53 minutes of my god fucking damn life. If it were any other movie, it would not feel as insufferably slow, but oh my god, once you see the theatrical cut, boring. Okay, explaining Grindhouse. You go from the excitement of Planet Terror, being loud, gory, violent, in your face, to Death Proof being much more grounded, realistic, slower paced, dialogue, etc. Boring, yes, but in the theatrical cut, it's not so bad. You can get used to it. But once you've seen the theatrical version, the extended cut is fucking obnoxiously boring. Rather than adding literally anything substantial, most of what's added is, good fucking god, just talk. Granted, the theatrical cut's the same way, but it's not nearly as bad. The extended cut, it's like, here's the girls in the car talking for even longer. Here's the girls talking to Stuntman Mike for even longer. Here's Earl and Edgar McGraw talking for much longer, while saying goddamn like 97 cajillion times in the span of 3 minutes. Here's Mike at a gas station licking some feet for way too long. It goes on for, it is fucking dreadful. Fucking dreadful. But it is more substantially different. Most of the extended, Jesse's favorite scene, I mean, you're not wrong, but it's also it's also a completely fucking unnecessary scene as well. But anyway. But still though, the extended cut of Death Proof is still more noticeably different than the theatrical cut of Death Proof compared to the extended Planet Terror, where they only added some very minor stuff. But anyway. But what do I give Grindhouse as a whole? What's my rating for it? And do I recommend it? Well, first I'm going to give my rating. Oh yeah, and but it's a not so good kind of different, I guess. If you mean the extended cut of Death Proof, yes. Really, the shorter version shown in the theatrical cut is much better. That's the version of Death Proof I prefer. But the longer version of Planet Terror, not bad. I still prefer the shorter cut, but the longer one is just fine. Anyway, but what's my rating? Well, considering this is 2 feature films and 4 fictitious trailers, I'm just going to rate everything. My rating for Planet Terror would be a 9 out of 10. Because it's just completely over the top. You know, it's over the top. It's gory. It's violent. It's cheesy. It's campy. It's stupid. It's dumb. But it's fucking fun. It never lets up once. Sure, I do think some scenes go a little too far, and I definitely didn't need to see Quentin Tarantino's testicles melting. I'm not going to provide context for that. That's a scene that happens. Tarantino's balls start to melt. But it is a great movie. Maybe not for the faint of heart, but a great movie. So yeah, Planet Terror gets a 9 out of 10. In both its extended and theatrical forms. In both its lengthened and abbreviated forms. Death Proof I'm going to rate much lower. Again, in both its abbreviated and extended forms. Mainly because, who am I? You sure you want to know the story? Yep, I knew that was coming. Anyway, Death Proof I'm going to rank much lower. Death Proof, okay, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for the amazing practical read. Who am I? You sure you want to know? The story of my life is not for the faint of heart. I gotta learn to just stop saying keywords on this show. Anyway, I'm going to give Death Proof a 10 out of 10 for Kurt Russell's performance as Stuntman Mike, the music, and for the amazing practical car stunts. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 over. That's a pretty solid impression. But my overall score, pretty solid. Well, anyway, yeah. But I'm going to give it an overall score of 6 out of 10 for just how wordy it is. Like, most of it is just girls talking. Most. Anyway, what about the trailers? They are all fucking 10 out of 10. Machete, Werewolf Women of the S, that would be a 5 out of 10 at most. Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, the trailers, Machete, Werewolf Women, Don't, and Thanksgiving. I'm going to give all of them a 10 out of 10, just because they're all wonderfully absurd, each one more than the last, with Thanksgiving just pushing the outer boundaries as much as possible. I only like Machete and Spy Kids. Yeah, but I feel like you would like the movie Machete. I feel like you would. Assuming you haven't seen it. But anyway. Also, Alexa Vega is in Machete, yet she's not Carmen. That makes no sense. Yeah, I don't get it either. But stay tuned for when we eventually cover Machete and Machete Kills. Anyway. But I'm just going to give all of the trailers, Machete, Werewolf Women, Don't, and Thanksgiving, a 10 out of 10. Each one is more absurd than the last, with Thanksgiving pushing, also Alexa Vega married a loser, correct? With each one just pushing the boundaries more and more, until Thanksgiving eventually says, fuck you, and just does everything offensive. No, I don't mean N-word and swastikas offensive, I mean just, no. Carlos Pena, yep. Or Pena. Well, anyway. Yeah, the trailers get a 10 out of 10. So yeah. So I'm going to give Grindhouse, well, my rating for the trailers, 10 out of 10. My rating for Planet Terror, 9 out of 10. And my rating for Death Proof, 5 to 6 out of 10. So my overall score for the entire experience would be 10 out of 10. It may be, also, aka the Mexican from Big Time Rush. Remember them? Yeah, me neither. Patchy the Pirate. Anyway. But yeah, my overall score for Grindhouse, though, would still be a 10 out of 10. It may be a little long for my liking, but damn it, it's the best 3 hours of my life. Yep. Do I recommend Grindhouse? James Maslow was on iCarly. Yeah, I remember. Anyway, do I recommend Grindhouse? Hard to say. I want to recommend it because Jesse Maslow is cute, or James Maslow. I'm tired. Anyway, do I recommend Grindhouse? Okay. I only recommend Grindhouse on the following conditions. If you're a fan of Robert Rodriguez, if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, either individually or together, if you're a fan of horror and comedy, because it is technically both, if you're a fan of over-the-top, gory, violent, sexual films, and if you're a fan of just turn off your brain, don't think too hard. If you can take all of that at the same time, then give Grindhouse a shot. If not, well then I don't know what to tell you. Control Z, yeah, you are not listening, but I guess if you can take all of those all at once, then I recommend it. If not, then it might not be your cup of tea. I would give it a chance. Although, please note, now we talk about what movie I got today. Yeah. Please note, though, if you are looking for Grindhouse, just please note, if you plan to stream the movie, on streaming, you will only find the extended, separate cuts of the two separate movies. But if you want to watch the full 3-hour double feature cut as originally shown in theaters, you'll have to buy the Blu-ray. It is not available on streaming. Movie review done. Oh boy. Anyway, Sylv went out and bought one of the most disgusting objects known to man. A sealed VHS copy of Home Alone, Taking Back the House. A movie that a sealed copy of Home Alone 4. A movie that I am absolutely not excited whatsoever to cover this year. Thing is, the actual movie itself says Home Alone 4. Yep. Well, anyway, let me put these away. Seriously, it fucking smells in here. That smell is driving me goddamn ballistic, but I can't tell where it is fucking coming from. There's a smell in here. that would have been really, really bad. That would have been bad. Where did I sit? Okay, there it is. Okay, now let me read all this. Okay. The thing is, the actual movie itself says Home Alone 4, and I remember watching it when it aired, and it was aired as Home Alone 4. Taking Back the House was just a marketing title. Stupid. Anyway. Okay. Alright. Well, I just spent 85 minutes talking about 191 minutes. Do I have time for any other topics? No. No, I don't. Because it's already 12:26 a.m. My apologies, but Taking Back the House is a nonsensical title. It really is. It's an AI-generated title before AI generation was even a thing. Nowhere do they take back the house. Yep. Oh, yep. Anyway. Alright, do I have time for any other... But that's a story for another time. Yep. Alright, now you're probably wondering if I have time for any other topics. No, I don't. Mainly because I already spent an hour and 26 minutes rambling on about Grindhouse with minimal interruptions. Hooray! Home Alone 4 will be covered with 3 in December. Good. Anyway. Can't wait to see it. Anyway. But yeah, it's getting a little late. I don't really have time. First is Home Alone 1 and 2, then 3, 4, then 5, 6. Yep. Anyway, alright. But I don't have time for any other topics tonight, just because it is already getting a little late. But I do want to I do want to add this on at the tail end of this episode. I do want to add this on. So, obviously, there was quite a few Halloween night has now passed. You know. Although, again, in my opinion, Halloween does not end until, like, November 7th. The first week of November. Happy November, yep. Anyway, Halloween for me does not end until, like, the first week of November. Like, the first 6 or 7 days of the month. Again, once Walmart... Stay tuned for Black Friday. Woo-hoo. Yep, anyway. After Walmart clears out all their Halloween stock, that's when we move on to Christmas. But anyway, where I was going with this. There was a lot of stuff that I did want to cover this October, but I could not for one reason or another. Whether it was due to time constraints or scheduling conflicts, or just other better topics being chosen and prioritized. Now, I think I want to revisit a few of those topics sometime in the future. Whether it's November, whether it's next Halloween, next year, assuming we make it next year. You know, maybe some of them will be covered at Christmas, you know, Halloween in December, I don't know, but there was quite a few that I wanted to cover. So I think for the first little part of November, you're going to see a couple of Halloween leftovers that we could not cover in October. Or rather, we could cover, but didn't have the time. Post-Halloween, yep. I guess alright. Alright. Yeah, going to the playlist. I considered the month of October for that's like the Star Wars Family Guy episode, yep. Anyway. What I was going to say. I considered the month of October to be its own little side season for this show. Granted, these are still a part of what I'm considering Season 1 but this is still its own little side season. So, Spooky Dookie Nights, based on the toilet meme, a long time ago, after MASH, but before after MASH. Yeah, anyway. I consider the month of October to be its own little side season. I think we can expect a couple more leftovers throughout early November. Not everything, but a few lone survivors here and there. I will say, though, I am definitely covering Hocus Pocus sometime. I know October would have been the perfect time to do it, but I think early November is just right. It's not really right on time, but it's also not too late. Know what I'm saying? Alright. As for November in general, though, what are we doing this November on Wonder After Dark? Well, so far we have 3 topics lined up. So far. November 5th, we are reviewing The Incredibles. That should be exciting. November 10th, oh, let's say, yep, Pokemon the first movie. That's coming November 10th. Get excited. And finally, on November 12th, we are reviewing Dogma. Yeah. So, yeah. November 5th is Incredibles, the first one. November 10th will be Pokemon the first movie, and November 12th is Dogma. Does the VHS from Mewtwo Returns contain the origin story or just the DVD? Or is that just the DVD? I have the VHS, but I actually do not know. Admittedly, the VHS, I do have Mewtwo Returns on VHS, but admittedly, it's one of those that I bought and then never watched. So, I actually don't know. But yeah. As for other potential topics this month, I actually don't know yet, but stay tuned. Check it out sometime before the Mewtwo Strikes Back review. Noted. Anyway. But as for other topics this month, actually check the case now. Okay. It's kind of buried, so I need to basically tear apart my room for this. Whoops. Alright. This is probably the single quietest moment. Shit. There we go. Sorry about that. By the looks of it, what you're referring to is just on the DVD. By the looks of it. Also, I'm going to be real with you. I know my Pokemon lore, kind of, and damn. Anyway, also, just a funny observation. Just a funny observation, but flipping to the back of the case, I know my Pokemon character names, but I still got quite the jump scare when I saw Giovanni on the back. Just the word Giovanni, I was like, huh! Like, quite the jump scare that gave me. Do not interpret that as a negative joke. That's a positive joke. I'm just clarifying that that joke is not meant to be taken in a negative context. I will repeat one last time, that is not a negative joke. But yeah, seems like what you're referring to is only on the DVD release. Okay. But anyway. I'll send you the link later of Mewtwo's Origins. Okay. Alright, but it's getting a little late. So, I guess before... Oh yeah, something I totally forgot to mention. I guess this episode also now wins the award for longest episode title for Wonder After Dark, maybe ever. It's 10 minutes, but it gives a lot of context as to why Mewtwo is violent. Yep. Alright, anyway. Anyway, what I was trying to say. Alright. But yeah. Oh yeah, this also wraps up yet another month of Wonder After Dark. Yet another month. Wow. Alright. I think we're done for tonight. Just because... Sent, by the way. Okay. If I don't get to that... I know you said it's only 10 minutes, but if I don't get to that tonight, then I will for sure get to it tomorrow, like soon after I wake up. Again, I might get to it tonight, I might not. It just depends. But anyway, do watch it before November 10th. Okay, I will. Anyway. Alright. Oh, by the way, one last little footnote I would like to add before we wrap up for tonight. Are we ready for election? Because I'm sure as hell not. Anyway, but yeah. What we're doing tomorrow night, I actually kind of forgot. I'm sure something was suggested to me, but otherwise I forgot. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure some topic for, you know, tomorrow, November 1st, was suggested to me. Oh, it was to say, fun fact though, the first 2 minutes of Mewtwo's origin were in the first movie. I think I knew that, but I don't know if I knew that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But 8 minutes were cut out for the English release, and they were left undubbed until 2001. That's interesting. But we'll find out about that on November 10th. But for real, I feel like there was something you asked me to talk about on November 1st, but my brain is totally drawing a blank. But will I elaborate further? No, because I've said enough. But for now, that's all the time we have for tonight. I forgot. Yeah. But always remember, eat your cereal, go to bed, to be continued. God made you special and He loves you very much. If you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Good night, and happy Halloween.